Take a few deep breaths. And one of the reasons that we know that things aren't the way we want them to be is that we have a feeling in our body. There's usually some kind of tightness there. And there's thoughts about it too, of course. But this kind of, I could call it resistance, but resistance almost feels a bit more willful. It's more just almost like a deep seated kind of primal no that there's something that we want to be different than it is. And it can be that intense or it can be, less intense depending on the situation. And we can certainly feel that way about ourselves and about other people. I think sometimes it's harder even for other people when we want them to be different because it's based on some kind of fear often. And relationships are tricky. There's so much that's reflected back to us in relationship about us. So what does it mean if we're worried about one of our children and they're not more aware or they're not treating themselves well or there's so much fear involved in outcomes, whether it's, I want them to have a happier life or, they could be putting themselves in some kind of danger. So I noticed that with my son as well. And then there's also the wanting things to be different for ourselves, of course. So many times people will say, well, I should be over this by now, or I should be more healed, or why is this taking so long, or how long will it take before I feel better? And all of these are natural. The frustration, the hope, the fear that underlies it. So maybe that's a good step at the start is to recognize that whatever it is, all of the complexity around wanting something to be different is well intentioned. It's a lot of it based on our survival systems. It's very common. It's part of being human. And then being frustrated with it is also part of being human. So to acknowledge that that's the way it is, whatever it is that's coming up for you, this is actually what's here. What does that feel like in your body and what kind of thoughts are in your mind? What is the energy? What's the experience of that? And let's feel into that for a moment on a physical level. Notice your body, your breath. It's very difficult to be fully relaxed when there's something frustrating us. Frustration and relaxation don't really go along in the same container very well. So we're really just noticing this is what's here, and then I'm tightened up, or I'm frustrated, or I'm angry, or I'm disappointed, or there's some kind of an emotional reaction to what's here. So for a few minutes, we're just going to work with noticing that in the body. So we can acknowledge it on an overall basis, including thoughts and memories and the situation itself. And then we can also let that settle a bit in our body. Notice the energy that's there. And if you weren't frustrated at all by this, what would your body feel like right now? Could you let that relax just for a minute? We'll bring back the frustration, but just for a minute, could you let everything go? And what would it feel like through the whole back of your neck and shoulders? Can you let your neck and shoulders relax and soften the large muscles of the upper back? And if you weren't frustrated by anything, what would it feel like in your chest and in your stomach? And we all remember times of being fully relaxed. So we could even anchor back into that maybe. If everything was just as you want it to be, what would it feel like in your body? Notice the softness of the belly as you're breathing. When we're fully relaxed, there's just that gentle motion of the stomach as it rises on the inhale and then settles back to the spine on the exhale. And we'd be relaxed from head to toes, to the face and the jaw. Where is it in your body that you're kind of clenched or tightened up? And bring your attention there for a moment. See if it would ease a bit just for a moment. And sometimes when we're tightened up against something, it's because it reminds us of other times when we've felt something, some concern, frustration, and there's kind of a fear base there. Other times it might be because it's reflecting something back about us. So let's work with thoughts for a bit and see what happens when we turn our attention to the frustration or to the situation, whatever it is that we're not really fully able to accept. And bring up the images. If there are images, really notice what does it feel like in your body, but what are the thoughts that are coming up around it? You could explain the situation first, even if you like. This is what's happening. This is what is frustrating me. I wish this instead of this. And we can hear sounds, we can look at words. So they're written out. We can see pictures that are either images or videos. This is what it reflects back about me. or these are memories of when this has come up before. And when we're working with words and images, we can do tapping or tracing, some of the other tools we use. If you're tapping, just bringing your attention away from the words and pictures, just this gentle tapping on the forehead, and really focus in on the sound and sensation of the tapping. And bring your hand down when you're mostly paying attention to that, and then look again at the picture or listen to the words. And keep connected with your body so you know what's happening in your body in response to your thoughts. And at any point, you can come right down into the energy of it. Where is that located? Is it a tightness in your chest? Notice where it is and notice the space all around that energy. And let's stay with thoughts for a while. We're still noticing the energy, but notice the thoughts. What are the words? What are the pictures? What's being triggered? What's under the frustration or the resistance? Notice if the energy is familiar. And notice what the energy might have to say. So we're not really any longer figuring it out. We're not thinking about it. We're more in tune with the energy in our body and letting the words or the pictures come up. Because often we spend a lot of time thinking about something, but now we're more feeling into it and we're noticing what the thoughts are that come along with the energy or sensations. Staying very present in your body with your breath. This is a witnessing mindfulness practice. I wish it was this way. And keep yourself focused. If this inquiry isn't resonating for you, you could always just be resting anyway. But if there's some kind of energy around this for you, let's stay with it. You might be dropping away from the words and just going into the energy of it. What exactly does it feel like in your body when we resist something? Is there room for a deeper breath? And what would happen if we were to just let go of that, or if it was to let go of us? Even just for a few minutes, we could practice that, or practice the willingness for that to happen. The kindness that we could be showering ourselves with. It's very frustrating to want something to be different than it is. Not a good experience for anybody when that happens, and it happens to all of us at times. So, what is it that you could do to ease that for yourself? To really give yourself permission to feel it, to not judge yourself for how you feel, and to take a break from that for a few minutes, to soften around it, to let go of judging yourself, to open up space for everybody to feel just as they feel, or to be evolved to whatever level they're evolved to. People have a hard time with things, other people and ourselves. So it helps to acknowledge that and to take a moment of breathing and relaxing and letting that be just as it is. And then if things are still relatively intense, if you've got memories, images, if you're really feeling that in your body, keep working with that. Tapping on images can be very helpful, or on words, to disconnect the Velcro between the energy of that and the thoughts about it. And it can also be so useful to go into the energy and notice what are the thoughts, what is it that you're holding on to? And would it be okay to let that go? So much of this is habit. When we're children, we have to hold on to certain things, and now we might still, or we might be able to open the space for that to go. Be really present with ourselves in a kind, with a kind foundation. Continue to breathe, notice your whole body. And soften your forehead and your eyebrows. When we're worried or frustrated, it can be very helpful just to focus on that. It helps when the mind is intrusive, when there's a lot of kind of compulsion in the thought. Focus on something specific, like relaxing your forehead muscles, your eyebrows. Or maybe you notice that it's your jaw and your mouth. You could unclench your teeth, put a bit of space between the upper jaw and lower jaw, relax the hinges of your jaw. And then down through the side of the neck, the shoulders, to the large muscles of the upper back. You could even move your shoulders up and then let them soften down away from your ears or back into the floor. It doesn't feel good in our body when we're tightened up against something. And then move your body around a little bit if you're lying down or sitting up. Kind of shake it out. Take a couple of really deep breaths. Mm. And then notice again your whole body, head to toes. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.